Ahead of the crucial COP27 climate talks in Egypt, a new campaign has kicked off looking to boost African efforts to seek greater global funding for affordable green energy, which is essential for adaptation to the climate crisis. The campaign calls for wealthy nations to greatly increase climate adaptation funding and to ensure a significant share of this funding supports access to green, affordable energy for people facing climate catastrophe. Speaking to me on this now is Patrick Tonui. He is the head of policy and regional strategy at GOGLA. GOGLA, that's the Global Association for the Off-Grid Solar Energy Industries, speaking to me tonight from Kenya. Thank you so much, Patrick. It's good to have you on the show. Tell me about the Power Up campaign. Who is leading it? How will the campaign work?
Good evening, Watson, and thank you so much for this opportunity to share with you a little bit more about the work that we are doing. I think first, let me introduce ourselves. My name is Patrick Tonui, and I'm with an organization called GOGLA, and we are part of an effort that's being led by Ashton that is really looking to bring together the community of actors who recognize that the ones who least can afford are the ones that are most exposed to climate change. With climate change, we are seeing obviously changing rainfall patterns, which is affecting food and food security, the quality of life and how people can live. And yet, within the context of the climate change discussion, what it needs to make sure that they have the tools and the resources to find a way to live decent lives within this is being lost, and they really don't have access to some of the modern energy that the SDG goals recognize that they will need so that they can actually produce food during the times that there's rainfall is not there. They need some of the other basic things that we enjoy. So the Power Up campaign is essentially an effort that's brought together a lot of champions and actors that are working in this space in a powerful coalition that really wants to make visible to the African governments that are really looking at how they will respond to climate change, but also the development partners that have a responsibility to also seek and provide support to the adaptation and the other measures that are going to be taken around climate change to really support that within this conversation that those who are most affected and that are least able to afford are also considered in the actions that are taken.
Okay, so with COP27 coming up in Egypt next month, let's chat to the lobbying of the various stakeholders that you need to be part of the campaign.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Absolutely. And if you look at what the campaign has done as we're looking towards COP27, we've done the Power Up coalition is bringing together a very strong coalition of partners and actors who are champions in this regard. Currently, we have over 40 organizations that have signed up to this campaign, and we are going to be able to bring our collective voice to make sure that it is heard and that this call that we are bringing together is heard. Secondly, what we are also looking to do with this coalition is really build up that data and that evidence so that as these discussions are being had, that the evidence is not ignored, so that we can be able to show both in terms of the need as well as the impact that by making sure that energy access is not forgotten behind. What is the impact does it have both on climate adaptation, climate mitigation, reduction in carbon emissions, and also really looking at how we build more resilient communities. And then lastly, the other thing that the campaign is going to be doing is really bring out the powerful stories that really communicate both around the communities that we don't want to leave behind and the impact that we want to have.
What do you think the biggest obstacles are to Africa's transition to green energy? Is it costs? If yes, how do we deal with the issue of funding? How do we find the money? And quickly, how much do we really need and so on? Will this campaign help us get that money?
So absolutely. I think the biggest constraint remains finances, financial resources beyond even the cost. Right now, if you look at, for example, in the space that we're focusing on off-grid, for example, we may see about $2 billion a year across all the investments, like in off-grid solar, when you need about 10 times as much just to be able to make sure that you don't leave anybody behind. And now when we talk about the broader climate change, adaptation and resilience that we need, we don't have enough money. And especially as we look at providing these, the cost to be able to do that, when we look about the people that we're trying to reach who are the least able to afford, we also need to bring around the resources that reduce the cost, that subsidize access, that enable that they can actually be able to reach and have access to those services. So we, as we look this, really want to champion that those financial resources are unlocked. This is resources both towards the consumers or the end users that they can afford these products, resources so that the industry and the local business and all the other firms that are availing these products are able to attract the investment that they need into them, into the technology, so that we do the research and the knowledge creation that we need. So that these products are both available and the measures that we need are available, they are accessible, not just also in hard currency, but in also local currencies. So this is, I think, the biggest. It's really funding that goes towards access, investment, as well as, just the core cost to subsidize the access for these solutions. Again, we are looking the least able to afford and who are most significantly.
Well, Patrick, here you and I discussing this on television across international borders, but we need to take the whole campaign down to the grassroots, the bottom of the pyramid. How do you achieve that? Tell me about that.
I think that's a really good question that you're having. And I think, one, we start off with the coalition. And if you look at the powerful coalition that we have a lot of organizations that are already engaging at the grassroots level. And through them, the message can be reached to really educate, our rural communities and, across all Africa about both the opportunities and the options that are available, and also the responsible measures that they can take for themselves. Beyond that, if you look at the actors that we're reaching to, in all the countries, what's the role of government, and can government help both in terms of availing the support through the policy measures, but also pushing the messages in raising awareness, building that educational outreach to the communities. And then we also look at the global actors who are also working in this space. And I think through this coalition, if we are able to unlock and make sure that both, for example, our partners on the corporate side, what the other actors, the community service organizations, the governments, as well as the development partners and the international governments play their role, then we can make sure that everybody is aware and also knows what the options are and can also play them.
All right, just a quick one to wrap up. Where can we get the people to learn more about the Power Up campaign? Give me that in 30 seconds.
Thank you. We do have a website that we'll invite you to take a look up. It's called Power Up. So if you can, they just do a quick Google search or look at the Ashden Clean Energy Initiative, and they will find all the information. We actually invite everybody, if you can, please sign up and join us. I think adding your voice to this campaign will really help us go a long way in making sure that we raise this to everybody that is attending the COP27.
We appreciate this conversation with you, sir. And do have a great weekend, my friend. Patrick Tonui, Head of Policy and Regional Strategy at Google.
Thank you.
Karibu sana.